Three times in one day. Wow. Sounds like the old days, doesn't it? Well, it's still March 15th, 2020. I'm Roy Potter. It's about, it's coming up on 1600 hours Mountain Time on this Sunday. And, I like Dan Bongino's concept of waiting 24 to 72 hours before you report on something. But I think I need to bring this up. If any of you are watching Alex Jones right now I know Alex Jones could be an instigator. I understand that. He has Norm Pattis, his constitutional attorney, on along with some other people right now about some events that are happening at the White House this afternoon. Uh, Let me just cut to the chase, okay? Apparently, if this is true and it's not just BS from somebody's trying to stir the pot, and I don't think it is because everything that I've been worrying about for the last 3 years seems to be happening exactly like I was afraid of. Apparently, as it sits right now, yes, Janet, President Trump is considering not just a travel ban from Europe and all these countries, but an interstate travel ban that will go in effect probably at 8 o'clock tonight or in the next few days. And yet, they haven't locked down the southern border. For some reason or other, he's kowtowed to the courts and not done that, but he's considering an interstate ban. Now, I don't know if it's true or not. I don't know, but it wouldn't surprise me. He came out with a tweet earlier today, and I told you about it, where he said that, obviously with the FBI and the DOJ losing the records on Flynn, well, how much, I'm sorry, but how much is Trump complicit in this subterfuge? I've worried about that for 3 years, that his rhetoric was not matching up with what's on the ground. He is complicit in this thing, whether knowingly or unknowingly, but I believe it's knowingly. He was put in there, as I've been concerned about for a long time, that he was put in there as a placebo. I'm sorry, as a placation, as a sedation, as an anesthetizer, to keep the right from getting upset, while all along still promoting at a slower pace the things that would have happened under HRC. Now, have they threatened him? Is he sick? Or was he involved in this from the very beginning? I don't know. But I don't care, because what I said all along is you must stand by the principles of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. And to not do so is wrong. Liza Jean Williams, I understand what you're saying. It feels like a global drill. All I can say about that is drills are always used prior to. They'll say they're having a drill just before an actual military operation of offensive operations. That's always the cover. And it doesn't matter if it's a drill. We're talking about shutting down interstate travel, and then it's just another movement, a very, very short distance to going that you can't leave your town or your neighborhood or even your home. All under the pretense that this virus is something really, really bad. And I'm not saying it isn't. I've been warning about it for a long time. You heard my concerns this morning where I talked to the immunologist about what he's seeing. But considering that this was possibly released on purpose, and whether it's deadly or not, it's definitely being used as the pretense to bring all this about. I didn't want to make a long upload this afternoon, but I am extremely concerned. They're making it look like that Trump is doing this because of the political pressure he's under, because of what other countries are doing. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The end result is the same. So his concerns, his on the face concerns for what's happened to Flynn are a little late in my book, and his kowtowing to the DOJ and the FBI as much as he has, and not standing up for the American people in the matters that really matter, the First, Second, and Fourth Amendments. It looks like we're still on that road where he has no respect for the First, Second, or Fourth Amendments. Now, under a real biological weapons attack or major flu epidemic, Why don't they go ahead and tell us what's really happening here? This isn't an H1N1. Okay, this isn't. It's either something less than that or it's something like a bioweapon. And not telling us the truth about it uh, right now, but locking us all down is evil. The other day, one of the reasons why I think Trump looked so bad in his last presser on Friday, I think it was because you can't knowingly involve yourself in something evil without it taking an effect upon you. And then people said, how dare you call Trump evil? How dare you? I'm unfollowing you. That's not the point. Whether he's being forced to it or whether he was complicit with this entire plan from the beginning, which unfortunately now I lean very strongly towards. And he looks like the victim. Notice he never stops looking like the victim, like the guy that's picked on. He doesn't act like the president. Oh, there are other forces that have more power than him. Well, that's why we elected him, because he said he would confront those powers. Ladies and gentlemen, the situation right now. They they have unleashed this thing, and now they're going to blame Americans for trying to react and get ready for the inevitable. I saw a tweet today where I forget the guy's name, but he said, you know, what we need to do now is anybody who's sick, we need to forcibly use the police to forcibly remove them from their home and put them in a FEMA camp, hospital, or whatever. Do you realize what that is? That's the same thing the Chinese were doing to take care of dissidents. Trump is willing to mitigate principle for his own welfare and for whatever it is that he's put first. And despite the appearances, it's not the Constitution, and it certainly isn't the American people. Or else that southern border would have been closed by the military a long time ago. I wanted to get into some more detail, but I've already been almost 10 minutes. Uh, Again, I've been very hard on Trump. I haven't been a cult of personality worshiper. I expect principle. I know politics is a little give and take, but there's been way too much loss of principle, if it was ever used at all. And I've warned about this for 3.5 to 4 years. Gigi Sims, thanks for everything you've done. Uh, Amazing work. Last Refuge, amazing work. I don't care for the cheerleaders. I appreciate the work of Dan Bongino and the like. You know, all the people that have tried to do the right thing, but they've been cheerleaders in the end, not holding the president accountable in reality. Uh, there was no reason for the president's DOJ to continue down the road of without dismissing. I called for a pardon, but a dismissal. I know, oh, he can't get involved with the DOJ. Well, that's BS, especially based on the circumstances. He should order a bar under the circumstances right now to dismiss the case against Flynn. He doesn't even need a pardon. Same with Stone and Assange and the Bundys and everybody else that they're going to go after. But he won't. And he probably will sign the FISA this week for the same reasons I'm giving now, that he's really involved in setting up this very oppressive government in this country to follow along with the New World Order. And I hope I'm wrong, but so far my concerns have been borne out in almost every instance. So let me show you what I did. I bought tasting glasses for my whiskey. I've been using tumblers, and I kept seeing these programs. Sorry, I'm waving the camera in. Seeing these programs, they say, well, you really ought to use a whiskey glass. And this isn't quite that. This is a tasting glass, but because the mouth is a little, less wide, and you get a larger surface area of the whiskey below, so you can kind of smell it a little better. You can kind of get an idea, which is part of the enjoyment of it, I guess. And I agree. So here's to you all. We cannot be followers of the cult of personality. We must demand that our leaders attach themselves to principle as they promised in their oaths to the office that they took, to the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. And any wavering from that basically shows that they're not who they say they are, number one. Uh, or, I should say, and or, they were never really serious in the first place, or they've been compromised. It's real easy to point fingers at Obama. That was an easy one. But now this is your man. Is he going to go ahead and do this? Ladies and gentlemen, just because he's contemplating it is a problem. Will social distancing protect us from this? It could. It could. I talked to that immunologist this morning. It could slow down the infection rate to where they can deal with it at the medical levels in the hospitals. But I mean, honestly, when you see what the DOJ and the FBI have done, when you look at all the preparations by the military, the FEMA camps, all of that, do you really think that this is somehow just to protect the American people against the infection? I can't. Whether Trump's being forced to do this or he's part of the plan to complicit in this takedown of our constitutional liberties and to clamp down with Orwellian government, I can't prove either one, but I can say that the fruits of it are pointing to the latter, that he's been complicit in it. Or he's been threatened, doesn't matter, then he should come out and publicly say so for the good of the country. At least let our states bring in their national guards to defend their borders, as he has failed to do in protecting the border of the United States. That's all I got for you now. We'll see how this unwinds tonight or over the next few days. Just think you're going to be cut off from your families and your friends and your relatives and your long distance relationships under a pretense, probably. Or if it's a real problem, the infection's a real problem, he still let it get out of hand because he didn't have the right people around him to trust, either by plan or by mistake. But that's not an excuse. He had, after 6 months, all this should have been realized in his learning curve. So I have to suspect that the rhetoric not meeting the action on the ground has been a problem. But we'll watch this tonight. This is just a heads up. It's not in concrete yet, but watching everything unfold the way it has, very likely. Okay? Just be aware. If you have somewhere to go, you better get there now. All right? Out for now.